Welcome, everyone. I hope you are having an amazing day. If you are tuning in live or on the replay, please let us know where you're tuning in from. I see Netherlands, Georgia. Hey, everyone. Let us know what the weather's like where you are. It's a beautiful, breezy, sunny day here in Maryland. I thought it was going to rain, but it's holding out right now. So today, to finish up Mold Week, I have Cam, the other Mast-Cell 360 health coach, with me today, and we're going to be giving you a sneak peek into the mold course and do a live Q&A. And we're also going to do a giveaway of both the the basic and the advanced course. So one winner will get a basic and one winner will get an advanced. So be sure to chat with us, answer questions, throw your questions up there. You have to be commenting to win. So we're glad you're here. Ooh, misty in San Diego, beautiful and sunny in Virginia, rainy in Northern California. All right, everyone, let's get into it. Our show disclaimers. This presentation is for informational and educational purposes. It is not meant to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent illness, so please be sure to discuss any health recommendations we make today with your healthcare provider. As an affiliate reminder, some of the links shared during this presentation or on our website are affiliate links, which means Mast-Cell 360 may take a very small commission if you purchase through our links. We only recommend products that we love and use personally or use in the Mast-Cell 360 practice. So if you choose to use our links, it helps support this show so that we can put out more and more free content. Oh yeah, lots of people from Virginia, UK, Houston, another Netherlands. It's amazing. We can be all over the world and tuning in today. And that is a great reminder for me that we're all in our homes. We work remotely, Cam and I do. I do have puppies here, and so they're asleep right now. I'm hoping they don't bark, but I do want to put that disclaimer out just to prepare your nervous systems in case they bark, because I know when I was super dysregulated, a bark from my dog would definitely set me off. So I'll try to mute myself real quick if I think they're waking up. But hopefully, if you're a dog lover or cat lover, team cat, team dog, throw it in the comments. We love to kind of learn more about our community. All right. So Cam, do you want to talk about what we're doing today?
Sure. So we're going to go over the course. We're going to give you guys a sneak peek behind the scenes because we get a lot of questions about what's actually included, what it looks like, and people have questions about, which of the two are best for them. So we're also going to talk about how the course can help even if you're sensitive. This course was designed specifically for people who are sensitive because so many of the protocols that are out there are actually problematic for those of us who have mast cell activation syndrome. And then finally, we're going to go through the basic and the advanced, show you a little bit more about the two so you can make a better and more informed decision. And then we'll have a live Q&A as time permits. And we're super excited to be here with you guys all today.
Yeah. And just a quick reminder on the live Q&A, if you think of questions as we're going along, feel free to throw them into the comment section. And then we will either answer them if we can, if it's relevant to what we're talking about, or we'll get to it at the end. We ask that you only put your question in one time. It helps us keep track. Keep it on the topic of today. So mold course. And we will get to as many as we can if time permits. Okay. So basic and advanced. One of the things I do want to point you guys into is there is a video. So this is going to be a great comparison. We also have on the sales page a comparison video. So, some people like that clear cut. This is what's included. This is what's included. But both masterclass levels include video modules. So it's mostly video. They're broken down into various topics, and they're short, so it makes it very digestible for brain fog people. So you can go as slow as you need to. And then we also have the printable roadmap guide. So we'll go over that in a little bit more. This has been a recently updated bonus that we've added. And then you also have a printable detox workbook. So a lot of people ask, can I download things and watch offline? Not at the moment. You do have to watch the videos online, but there are printable materials. It's like the transcript. So if you prefer to read instead of watch the video, if you're EMF sensitive, that is an option for you as well. We do have a bonus of what to do if you're still exposed. And we've recently added in our last mold month a video on gut health. And then previously we added a bonus on environmental mold. So if you're watching this today and you have previously purchased the mold course, but haven't looked at it in a while, and you're kind of like, oh, maybe I should, upgrade to advanced. Maybe that's a question you have, or you just come to these every week and you love hearing us. But you do have the mold course already. Every time we add a bonus, all previous purchasers get that bonus. So I do want to let you know that, those are in there for you to explore if you haven't got logged in a while. I just wanted to real quick also give you like a physical behind the scenes look of what is in there. So we have, let me just bring this up real quick. All right, so this is behind the scenes. You can see here what it looks like. This is the Precision Mold Masterclass Basic version. And you come down here and, for example, how to use this course, you'll click in, you'll see the video here. You can see where you can download that workbook that we'll talk about in a little bit. I'm not going to go through everything today, but this is kind of the table of contents. And I do want to mention real quick that in order to move through the program, I believe you have to click next lesson. Cam, is this one you don't have to mark complete, do you?
I don't remember on that one, but the rest of them you will.
Yeah, so some of them you can see down here. You have the transcript you can download. Here's the mark complete button. So you'll want to click that to go to the next section. This kind of helps you stay on track to know, like, okay, I've completed this video, I can move on to the next one. So that's the Precision Basic. Here's the Precision Advanced. So you can go down here. You'll see there's actually even a second page because there's that much more in the advanced version. So you do want to see, like, it does go on to the second page now that we've added a new bonus. So I do want to alert people to that, to always, make sure you're getting all of the resources available to you in the course. So that's kind of like a little sneak peek of what's going on behind the scenes, what the course looks like. You saw in that one video, or that one where it's like broken up into these shorter videos. So you can kind of go through at a really slow pace, which helps for this brain fog community. All right, so bringing up this. So that's included in both courses. Cam, you worked on the roadmap. Do you want to discuss kind of what this resource is and how it will help you kind of navigate the course?
Sure. So we designed this as basically a starting point for people. You can take this and start using it before you dive into the course if you would like to. It's got a quiz incorporated into it where you can look at mold toxicity symptoms, and it'll rate you according to kind of like what level you're at. Are you severe? Are you, something that you need to look into a little bit? This is definitely something you need to look into. And then it gives you some clear step-by-step things to do for depending on which tier you fall into, what you'll do next. So examples of things that you might do next would be, start working on your nervous system, or, you might need to find an IEP. And the course also includes some resources for helping do that. We don't specialize in environmental remediation, and that part, we leave that to those professionals, and we take care of the body side of things. So this was basically designed as a help you get started. And it's got some really great information in there that makes it very easy to find out kind of like where you're at.
Yeah, and this picture here on the slide is the actual picture from one of the pages out there. So you can kind of see it's like step one. How do you prep to even start a detox? Because we have clients come to us all the time that say, I've tried detox, it hasn't worked for us. And often they're missing the pieces that come before to prep yourself to have a gentle detox that's not going to set off those mast cells.
Usually stabilization.
We call it stabilization. So then the other thing that I mentioned, that I pointed to, like where you can download these workbooks below videos. This workbook here is, once you're ready to start detoxing, you can use this printable workbook for a step-by-step to know exactly what to do. Do you have all the areas covered? What maybe you need to add? Are you able to do it alone, or do you need to get a practitioner involved? We have many people use this course and get, dramatically better just with the course alone. And then we have people who find that they need that additional support. So it's all going to depend on your individual case, level of exposure. When was that exposure? Was it a past exposure, or was it an acute recent exposure? So all those environmental factors are going to play a role in how fast and how well you detox. But this workbook is it's pages and pages long. So it's an amazing resource that you can print out and go slowly through. Do you have anything to add about the workbook, Cam?
Sure. So the workbook, one of the things that I was really impressed with when I first encountered the workbook, I'm a visual learner and I really like to have things written down so I can see. And I know that, dealing with a lot of brain fog and things like that, it can be helpful to have it where you can look at it, in your hands. And the workbook is really good about taking things, breaking it down into small chunks, and then it gives you options. So it's not like you have to do this. This is the next step. These are the options that you have. Which ones would you feel are going to suit you best? What resonates with you? And that's part of that framework that we talk about all the time, where we have a framework, but it's still a very individualized program.
Yeah, those are some great points. Okay, so we wanted to answer some frequently asked questions. So I do see some questions coming in. Thank you for everyone who is throwing those in there. Maybe this will answer a question that you've had, because these are ones that we see all the time. So how long is the class, and what if I have brain fog? So I alluded to, I showed you guys kind of the individual videos. There's a few hours of material, and that can feel daunting, but also it can be reassuring that you're actually going to get your money's worth when you purchase this course. It has so much information in there. So it is a few hours, but it's broken down into those shorter segments so you can take it at your own pace. And again, you can mark things when you've completed them so you know where to pick back up. And then again, there's those downloadable transcripts and workbooks to help you go through. So it can take as long as you need it to take to be able to get through the material in a way that makes sense for you. Cam, do you want to take this one?
Sure. I would like to add too, as far as accessing the course, you can access it as many times as you want. It's not just a one and done. So if you need to go back and watch a video 3 or 4 times, you can do that. You can come back to it as often as you need to. So
yeah, I'm gonna throw up Autumn's question. When you mark it complete, can you still go back and watch it again? Absolutely, you can do that.
Yes, we don't time limit the course. We don't access limit the course. You have it for as long as it's up and running, as many times as you would like. We have people who go through the course and feel significantly better, and then they come back and troubleshoot later on, for things that they're dealing with then. So it's there for you as long as you need it. So another FAQ that we get: how much time do I have to complete the class? This is what we were just talking about. The class is available as an online recording. You can take it at your own pace. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. You can access it as much as you want. You don't have to limit the amount of times that you come back to see it. You don't have a 6-month or a 12-month. You can have it, as long as it's there. And again, you can rewatch it as often as you would like.
Yeah. Okay, so what if I'm really sensitive and have had trouble detoxing before? So I alluded to this. We have clients who come to us all the time and say, I've tried a detox and it hasn't worked for me. So this course is, based on scientific research, and it's going over steps that we've optimized from working with over 700 people to say, okay, this is what needs to be done first in order for a detox to be efficient and gentle. so that we can actually remove the mold from the body without really activating those mast cells to the point where we're going to set ourselves back even further on our healing journey. So after working with this many clients, this formula, like like Cam mentioned, is a framework that our co-founder Beth created based on working with those clients. So it's tried and true. It's delivered a high success rate with our clients. So this is the framework we use with clients in the clinic. And we even have clients who love the personalized approach, but then additionally will buy this course so that they have that like reference to go back to, if they get re-exposed or they just want to have that at their fingertips as well. So it's really just an amazing resource to be able to troubleshoot, when you need to. Cam, do you have anything to add?
I will say, as far as this question goes too, the course was originally created because, Beth was just one person, and there are so many people that need this help. And the other side of that coin is sometimes, we understand that there are a lot of times financial considerations and things like that as well. So the reason that the courses were built out was to provide the same information that we use in the clinic and make that available to anyone, anywhere, at any time. You can take this information and work through it on your own. You can take this information and work through it with your practitioner. A lot of times, if you bring information like this to a practitioner as well, it can be really, really helpful in your own journey.
Okay, so to kind of go on that, like I'm super sensitive. I've tried detoxing before. Here is an FAQ we see a lot. What if I'm reacting to all supplements? So when we see this, we often need to continue to work on stabilization pieces before we are ready. So this points to a lot of nervous system dysregulation of your mast cells being hyperreactive. So we need to calm the body down still before we can get to the detox part. So we also have 2 other courses. The nervous system reboot is kind of like that first step. If you're hypersensitive, we'll start there. Once you calm those mast cells down, you can tolerate some of the mast cell stabilizing supplements. We then have a whole course on that. And then we move on to the mold piece. But if you know or suspect mold's an issue for you and you want to take advantage of the sale, like we mentioned earlier, this course doesn't expire. So you can take advantage of the sale, but keep in mind there may be some pieces that you want to put in place. And the course does go over that and point you in the direction of like what support do you need. So it could still be worth an investment in the course now to kind of see like, okay, I know mold's an issue. I'm going to need this down the road. And it will help set you up, especially that roadmap piece that we just added and revised. It's going to really walk you through those stabilization pieces of like, where do I start? Where do I begin? All right, Cam, anything to add?
Yeah, so on this one as well, I would like to let people know with the mold course and the top 8 and the nervous system reboot. The nervous system reboot and the top 8 are both part of stabilization, but so is removing triggers in your environment. And mold is one of the biggest triggers that you'll need to remove. So if you're kind of lost on where to start or, how to even know if it's a problem, or you're not quite ready for detox, or you've tried things before and you're reacting to them, this is helpful for pretty much all of that. It does talk about helping with your environment. It talks about, like Jamie was saying, preparation for detox and all of that. They kind of work in synergy with one another.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Okay, so you may be wondering now, is the basic course or the advanced course right for me? So the basic course, basic includes kind of the DIY testing. So a lot of people ask, like, how do I even know if mold's an issue for me? So you could always get the testing first and find out if you have mold for you. And if even that feels like too much or too confusing, again, the mold course is actually going to help walk you through how to do that testing. And you don't need a physician to order this test for you. You can get it on your own and kind of become empowered. We talked about that a week or two ago. It's like, empower yourself with the knowledge you need to move the needle on your health. No one's going to do this for you. You have to kind of take charge. And so basic course does go over how to test the body and kind of look at the environment. Are there some environmental pieces going on that you need to address? And as Cam just mentioned, that's part of stabilization, is addressing those environmental triggers. Then it goes into the intro to detox and detox prep. So prepping the body for detox, goes into step-by-step detox protocol. It goes over, once you get your test results back, it shows you which targeted binders and supports to use for the specific mycotoxins that you have. And then all those bonuses that we went over in the beginning, you have access to those. So those are included in both the basic and advanced course. So if you find yourself easily overwhelmed, the basic course is a very clear step-by-step way to get started without all of the extra stuff going on. And especially it may be just enough to give you what you need to then go work with a physician and or a practitioner and say okay, this is where I am. This is where I feel like I need support. How can you customize this for me? All right, Cam, anything to add to that, or should we move on?
That was a great summary.
Okay. How about you take this one then?
Okay, so this is the advanced. So the advanced is literally the basic. It has everything the basic has in it, and then you get these things on top of it. There's some extra practitioner protocols. It's really geared towards practitioners or people who want the nitty-gritty science and all of those details, or if you're a more complex case, and that's why all of this extra stuff is included in that. It has a few case studies in there. It has expanded scientific explanations on several key topics, and Jamie will talk a little bit more about those. And then it has advanced support options as well. So for example, if you're going along and you get stuck somewhere, what are some things I can try that aren't quite taking care of this? And again, that's people who are more complex and things like that. And for practitioners who would be seeing, multiple people in different scenarios and need that information.
Yeah, especially the case studies can be helpful. And then I'll go over this more, but there's live Q&As that Beth recorded when the course originally came out. So there's, I think, even 3 live Q&As included. So yes. If it's a question you have, it's most likely been answered, and that's included in the advanced course.
Yeah, okay. And on those questions, there's lists online too, where you can go through and you can actually find the questions that are answered in each of those Q&As.
Yeah. Okay, so just continuing along. So both courses deliver that same knowledge that we use successfully with sensitive clients in the clinic. And it's based off the MC360 method. So, this is the framework that we were talking about earlier. We have a whole video on the MC360 method. We're not going to go into it today. It includes research with targeted binders. So, I think you saw there's a place that you can click in the course with references. So all that research is there too, both in the basic and advanced. These courses are well researched, well developed. And then again, those printable bonuses, either course. So the benefit, as Cam was just saying, is if you really want the nitty gritty, or you are a practitioner, or you've been on this journey for a really long time, the advanced may just give you that extra boost. But if you're just looking for the basic framework, and the basic includes it. It's an amazing deal right now, on sale. It's $100 off. So it's $149 just to get this basic framework of what we do and where we get success with clients in the clinic. And I'll just add to, if you're still kind of basic, advanced, I don't know, I want to know what are the nitty-gritty things that you get in the advanced course. So it has extra information. So again, it's like the bare bones to get you what you need to do to detox. But the advanced has extra info on the toxicity of mold. It has extra info on mast cells. It has extra research reviews on mycotoxins, mold, mast cells, and the nervous system. It has information on cell danger response. It has advanced mast cell and bowel movement support. So again, we don't actually move on to detox with clients until part of stabilization that includes a daily bowel movement is taking place. So if you're somebody who tends to be on the more constipated side, that bowel movement is going to be crucial in order to be able to move forward. And so the advanced course does have additional information on supporting mast cells and bowel movements. It also has the advanced also has additional information on phase 2, phase 3 detox and antifungals. So a lot of people, again, who are really into the science, like we all know we all detox, and whether that's through, we often think about like the liver, but there's more, the kidneys, it happens through our bowels, we sweat, detox, so our skin's part of detox, our lungs are part of detox, right? So it's a lot more than just what the liver is doing for us. So if you're really interested in learning more about that, there is more info in the advanced course on those phase 2, phase 3 detox pathways. And then, like I mentioned earlier, there's 3 pre-recorded Q&A sessions, and then those case studies. So looking at, clients that Beth has helped in the past detox from mold and looking at those. There are also additional troubleshooting lessons for salicylate intolerance. So if you do experience salicylate intolerance, there's info in the advanced course on that. Heme dysregulation, structural issues, sleep dysregulation, as well as pregnancy and breastfeeding. So if you're thinking about having children or currently pregnant or currently breastfeeding, you may find that information helpful as well. So I also wanted to just mention real quick that if you have purchased the basic course, you can upgrade to the advanced course. So even if you just purchased it already during the sale, there's no time limit on upgrading. We want to be able to get you the info you want and desire. So if this helped bring clarity to like, oh, I really need the advanced course, not basic, you can go ahead and upgrade. Basically, you'll just purchase the advanced course. It makes it really easy on us if you can use the same email address that you used to purchase the basic. You'll have to be logged into your account on our website to do that. And then send us an email with the receipt for the advanced course, and we'll refund you the price you paid for the basic. So it's an amazing time to save on the advanced course right now, because you'll pay the sale price of the advanced and get a refund of what you paid for the basic. All right, Cam, do you have anything to add to that?
Sure. So when we call the basic bare bones, it's still a really well built out course. A lot of people get better just using that information. We recognized that there was a need for something that was a little more succinct for those people who get overwhelmed easier, or they may not need all of that information because they're just not that difficult of a case. So that course is a really, really good starting place if you're kind of stuck and you're not really sure what you want to do. It's a really good start. For most people, it's enough. It's the advanced is really geared towards the practitioners, and like Jamie was saying, people who are a little tougher cases, or if you're science nerd like me, I watch medical conferences for fun. If you're that kind of a person, the advanced is going to scratch that itch for you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's get into some live questions. We have so many good ones coming in. Just a reminder that we're going to be answering questions that are about the course today. And please understand that we're unable to answer in-depth personal health questions. All right, so let's bring that down. Okay, Brittany is asking, how long does it typically take on average to fully detox from mold toxicity when you've had it for a long time, aka years? This is a great question, Brittany, and unfortunately, I don't think I have a straightforward answer for you because Cam and I were literally just talking about this prior to coming on live because I've been detoxing mold for well over 2 years now. To give you some insight into my personal journey and story, I have a known past mold exposure where I was in a moldy building with visible black mold for 8 years. So my exposure was pretty extensive. I went into mold detox once I was stabilized, thinking like, all right, maybe a year, I'll be done. So it's been 2 years. I'm into year 3 now. I've just entered year 3. And it's kind of humbling because it's just a reminder that, like, our bodies are doing the best that they can, and we're doing the best that we can with the knowledge we have. And sometimes you need to troubleshoot and change and like add something. For example, like one of the things that I think I determined that I need to add is probably some sinus colonization support. And we're actually going to have Dr. Dennis on for a live next Monday, I believe. And so if you have had a mold exposure, when you're breathing in mold, it's very likely that your sinuses are going to be colonized. And so, again, this is like the difference between your exposure, how long is that exposure, and how long that detox is going to take. I don't think we have an average. Cam, do you think we have an average?
So I heard Beth say that basically if you're a very simple case, it might be done in as early as 6 months. But those are people who are like, oh, I started feeling a little off and I found the mold and we took care of it. And it was like pretty quick. For the majority of us, that's not the case. So it's going to be, at least 12 months, 18 months. In the clinic, Beth always said the average was between 1 and 3 years. So we put it at kind of 2 years. But again, it really depends on the case. Are you still being exposed?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have going on? What hurdles do you have to detox? So it's kind of like a work in progress, but that doesn't mean that you don't feel better along the way. And it doesn't mean that you're not supporting your body and your body's starting to function better along the way.
Yeah.
Every step in that right direction moves you further up that path.
That's an amazing point to share for like that piece of hope, because I feel like what I just shared was kind of doom and gloom, and then Cam brings it around. It's like, yes, even though I'm not where I thought I'd be this far into a mold detox, I definitely see the difference in my everyday life experience. Like the fatigue has gone down, the air hunger's gone down, my nervous system's more regulated. Like just all those pieces I put in place to even get to where I was able to detox have set me up to be able to enjoy more of life again. Because it's hard. It's very hard when you are sick. A majority of our staff have mold toxicity and know how it is to go through this on a daily basis. So you're not alone in what you're experiencing. So thank you, Cam, for bringing us back to hope. Okay. Let's see. Lori is asking, can the course be used or applied for kids with mold exposure? So this is a great question that we actually do get pretty frequently because there's so many parents out there seeing their children suffering. And often if the child is suffering, the parent is probably suffering as well. The course is not specifically for kids. So my recommendation for you is that all the steps can be applied to children, but you would most likely want a mold literate physician or pediatric physician to work with to make sure that you're using appropriate amounts for your child, because your child is going to, based on age, based on weight, those amounts will vary from child to child. So yes, the course can be applied for children, but it is not specifically designed with kids in mind. So having that additional support from a physician would be beneficial. Anything to add, Cam?
Oh, and the kids are young. Kids are smaller, kids are younger, so their systems aren't developed. So oftentimes they're some of the first ones affected, and they're kind of like the canary in the coal mine. I say this all the time, with our family, we've got three people who are very affected. My husband seems to be fine, but obviously, what affects us is also affecting him.
Mhm.
So if there's something going on and your kids are not doing well, it's a very good potential that the adults in the house are also affected.
Yeah. So Mary's asking, do even very low levels of mold need to be addressed? So this is a great question, and it will be answered in the course, but I'll just give you like a little bit of sneak peek. When you do the testing, when we have clients do the testing, if it comes back even equivocal, so like you'll see there's like a blue line on a test on the real-time lab test, and if your mold level comes back in that area, if it comes back over that area, that's telling us that mold is present. If it comes back in the equivocal area, the mold's present. It's only showing what you're metabolizing in that moment. So often when we start detoxing, that goes from equivocal into present when we start drawing it out of the tissue. So often we treat equivocal. Sorry, we don't treat it, but we say if somebody is equivocal, we assume that they're actually present in that. So hopefully that answers your question, Mary. Also, I'll mention that we do prefer the real-time lab test. When this course was created, we were using Great Plain and real-time lab to get a broader picture. Great Plain was bought by Mosaic or merged with Mosaic. We've seen less efficient. We've seen it become less efficient over that since that merger, and so we've kind of fallen off from using the Mosaic test. And one of the reasons why is we'll get false negatives. So those tests come back negative, but if they had taken the real-time lab at the same time, it would most likely show positive on the real-time lab test. So if you have to choose one, we recommend choosing the real-time lab test. Joanna, do you have a 30-day money-back guarantee? Yes, we do. So no questions asked. If it's 30 days from day of purchase, we will refund you. All right, Cam, do you see any questions you want to answer?
It's a good question.
I know, I'm looking through them. You guys have some good ones.
I know that I've seen a few questions about location specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, location specific questions about the course. So the course provides links to resources that we trust, resources that we have vetted, resources that we use in the clinic. If you're outside of the US, some of those can be ordered through third-party shipping companies, or sometimes you can find things that are similar enough locally. And some things can be ordered directly internationally. Some of those companies do ship internationally. As far as somebody had asked state by state, I'm not sure. Maybe that's about the environmental mold piece. Again, we don't specialize in the environmental piece. We do provide some resources, for how to find an IEP that's actually going to do a good job for you, what you want to look for. And there's a video interview with Michael Schrantz on there, who is one of our favorites. And he does inspections, I believe, all through the US.
Yeah. Okay, I see the second question. Yeah. So Genevieve is asking about things in the course that can apply to Canadians. I will say, so again, with the supplements, we often recommend a third-party shipping option for international if you're having trouble finding those local options. And our web store does actually accept that third party, whereas we've seen like Fullscript accounts not be accepting of that third-party shipping. So you can purchase through our web store for the supplement piece. And then again, for that test piece, real-time lab tests has an international option. So you can definitely order that mycotoxin test internationally. Okay.
So
Go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead. Put
Okay.
that one up.
Yeah. So if you have had a flare, how soon would you recommend starting another detox protocol? So I'm assuming that you're asking if you've flared from detoxing, how long would you wait until you try another detox? And you can feel free to write in if I'm misinterpreting that. But we would want that flare. We would want to be out of the flare. We would want to follow a flare protocol. We have a blog on that. We'd want to make sure that we're restabilized so that the mast cells are in a place where we're going to handle that next detox. Cam, what were you going to say?
That's the one I was actually looking at.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a similar question here, or similar vein, I suppose, of will the course help with tips on what to do when you get mold exposures visiting family? So yes, in short, this is going to help you understand like the detox processes, what you need to do to protect yourself, what you can do to help with detox, what you can do to help support yourself afterwards and things like that. Because we don't live in bubbles, right? We live in a world where mold is a very important part of nature and our ecosystem, and it's very helpful and it's useful breaking things down. We're never going to get away from it. It's always part of it, but we just have to get our bodies healthy enough that our threshold to exposure comes up a little bit and you know what to do, right?
Yeah.
Most of us who are sensitive to mold, or most of us who have become sensitive from mold, we've got something that's a little different in there somewhere, and it's probably a combination of many things that we just have to be aware of these things. So yes, the course will definitely help you learn how to do those kinds of things and handle those situations.
And going back to that piece of empowerment, it's like, protecting yourself. Can you avoid certain exposures? What tools for environmental pieces can you bring with you when you're visiting family, and things like that. So yeah, there's definitely pieces in there. Elizabeth is saying, I'll throw that up there, she has taken the advanced and highly recommends it. Thank you, Elizabeth. We're glad to hear that. Patty is asking if there's a certification for practitioners if you take the advanced. Not currently, but we are looking into our practitioner training having a certification. So that's currently, we're gathering. You can join our email wait list so you can get all the information on that practitioner training and when it comes out. But if you take the advanced course in the meantime, a lot of those, as a practitioner, you'll be able to implement a lot of this quicker with your clients just because that we're still developing the practitioner training. And two, a lot of the practitioner training pieces will make a lot more sense if you come into it with some background knowledge of the protocol. So as far as, wanting to do the best for your own clients, it's a great place to start. But unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have a certification for it. Cam, do you have one that you are itching to answer?
I see a couple just under the one you just pulled up. I'm going to pull this next one up. She's asking how long it takes as an estimate to go through each course. So the basic is about 4 to 5 hours, and then the advanced has the additional materials, and that's about 4 to 5 hours more. So as far as that's if you sit down and you watch them, if you watch them from beginning to end nonstop, which most of us aren't going to do. It's a lot of information to take in, even for Jamie and I. So you can break that up.
Yeah, I would definitely break it up. I would not sit down for 10 hours and try and absorb everything. Okay. Does the course contain allopathic antifungals such as itraconazole, or does it use herbal antifungals and binders primarily? So the advanced will go more into the antifungals and prescriptions versus the basic, which focuses primarily on the binders.
Yeah, and the supplements. The basic really includes mostly the supplements and things like that. It does touch on a few of the prescriptions, if I'm remembering correctly, but the majority of that is going to be in the advanced.
Yeah. Yeah. So Lacey, we did mention this earlier, but yeah, there's a DIY like how to do this testing on your own and how to read and interpret them. So that's absolutely in there. Like we mentioned earlier, like some people can go through this course without a practitioner's guidance at all and see improvement. And again, that's going to be based on whether or not someone's had acute exposure and is a very simple case versus a long exposure and may need that advanced support. But as far as getting the testing done to kind of get that baseline, like, do I even have mold? It definitely walks you through those pieces. Yeah.
So talking about mold exposure in food. So the course does talk a little bit about this. We don't find that that's generally a problem in countries that have fairly good regulations around food. It's more of a problem in places specifically that don't have those regulations and testing in food. That doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, things like grapes, especially citric acid, things that are made from mold, that you might not be sensitive to those things. But as far as mold exposure showing up on tests is concerned and the need to detox them, those typically come from environmental exposures rather than mold exposures in food.
Mm-hmm.
And the tests actually are normed to allow like the expected amount that you would typically see in, say, a standard American diet or a diet elsewhere that has those regulations in place as well.
Yeah, and a lot of and like supplement recommendations, we've done if it's the only option has citric acid, or I should say ascorbyl palmitate is one of the ones that like we have on our excipient list to avoid. But sometimes like the only supplement you can find will have it in there. So like all the other stabilization pieces, like we do a really good job finding supplements without those things like citric acid in it because we know that they're mast cell activators. I'm going to answer this one real quick from Michelle. So does a basic course on testing sufficient for spouses, or do you need to get 2 courses for each person? So I would say for one household, it is fine to purchase one course, but you'll want to purchase 2 tests. So you'll want to get 2 of the real-time lab tests and test each body individually. But the course, you only need 1 course to walk you through how to do that testing. Tanya's asking, is the advanced course discounted today as well? Yes, it is. So our basic course is $100 off, making it $149, and the advanced course is normally $699. It's $200 off, so you can get it for $499 during the sale. And I will say that today is the last day of mold month, so this is the cart closure day. And so if you do want to take advantage of the sale, we do recommend purchasing it as soon as possible. And that's why we're doing this live. If you have any questions, we want to answer them. Okay. Irene is asking, does this course address mast cell stabilization? So yes, it does give you a basic overview of how stabilization plays into the detox prep. And that roadmap. So there's the workbook and the roadmap. The roadmap does a very good job on showing you where you are in that stabilization process and maybe what more work you need to do before you go on to the detox pieces. Anything to add there, Cam?
Yeah, removing mold as a trigger is a big part of that. So that stabilization piece, we see it over and over and over again. You can't out supplement. I guess to some extent, sometimes people, depending on where the dysregulation comes from, the nervous system work can really do great things for the mold exposure, but you still need to get that mold exposure down to be able to really stabilize and get that moving forward. And that's where the mold course will really come and help. So Irene's also asking, does the basic course cover different supplements and binders for different molds? Yes. And that's part of what makes the mast cell 360 framework a little bit different, is that we target specific binders for specific molds. That was a lot of the research that Beth did with Dr. Neil Nathan and Emily Gibler and a few other people, to really determine which ones are best suited to which molds. And that's all in there, and it's been updated.
Yeah. Okay, Cam, I'm getting chatting behind the scenes with Zach to get our giveaway winners. Are there any other comments you want to answer before we?
There's a lot of good ones in there. I didn't see any other right off the bat.
Okay. All right, guys. So, I'm waiting. We can do a drum roll. All right. The basic winner is Brittany McCoy. And the advanced winner is Christina Brown. So congratulations, guys. Please email us at support@mastcell360.com, and we will get you access to either the basic or the advanced course. Again, Brittany, congratulations on winning the basic, and Christina, congratulations on winning the advanced. We hope that this was informative for you guys, kind of helped answer some of those questions that maybe you're on the fence if you need this course right now or not. Cam, do you have any parting words for our audience today?
I just want to tell everybody out there that, I'm grateful to be here with you today. And a lot of us have been in your shoes. I want you to know that feeling better is absolutely possible. And it really requires those next steps, those one little step. And when it feels like, things are falling apart, oftentimes that's because we're actually moving forward. So keep that in mind. If you're doing those things and you're taking those steps and things are getting hard, oftentimes it's either, there's just something that's a little bit that's being missed, or you're actually headed in the right direction and your body's cooperating, and that comes out as increased symptoms because the mold is getting, going through your gut and getting worse. I just want to give you guys a little bit of hope and make sure that you understand that each of those steps forward is actually moving to that right direction.
Yeah. Just every step you take is progress, because there's usually like the whole trial and error, right? It's like not everything is going to work for you as an individual, but like what you'll learn is whether or not that's a supportive tool. And sometimes it might not be a supportive tool right now, but you can always come back to it. So even if you purchase this course, you discover like the mold, if you haven't done any testing yet, at least you now, one, have discovered the mold, and now you have the rest of the course to go through it and figure out. And what Cam was saying is basically like our bodies are always talking to us. And so sometimes we feel a little bit shaky before we feel improved. But I just want to reiterate that this course was designed for sensitive people in mind. And so it's meant to kind of give you that step-by-step instructions on how to do this gently, so we don't have that huge Herxheimer that people talk about. And it's like, we don't want you to just push through. You may have heard a practitioner tell you, oh, you're just herxing, just push through. That's not our approach. That's not what this course is about. This course is meant to do it gently. So there is hope. This is a roadmap, a guidebook for you guys to take that next step on your mold healing. So thank you so much for being with us today. We'll be back next week with Dr. Dennis, and I hope everyone has a beautiful day. See you guys next time.